So welcome everyone. My name is Tomasz Turk. I'm Vice Dean for Research here at our faculty. So welcome to everybody that came in person. Welcome everybody that is online or will perhaps look at the recording. So we'll just start with doctoral students first, right? That's the whole point of our day. So we'll ask Vityan first to join.
Hi.
Hi. So let's start with a few basic questions, right? So what does it mean to be a doctoral student? What is your definition of a doctoral student given your experience so far?
So as a doctoral student, you do quite a lot of things. The main one, of course, being doing research. You also have you also work as a teaching assistant and do other stuff like work on projects. But let's say that the main one is research. It's interesting because it's even in the name, like doctoral student. It's not unlike other studies. You don't really go to courses and you don't study something specific, but you really work on your topic. So you kind of pick what to study. So you are a student, but in a very specific topic of your choosing.
Okay, great. So next question: why did you choose to become a doctoral student? What was your motivation?
So I was working in the field of computer vision before. I was working in a lab even when I was a student here at the faculty, and I just really got interested in the entire process of research and working on computer vision, which is my topic. And I just got interested in the topic so much that I signed up for the PhD studies as well.
Okay. What are your greatest challenges in the doctoral research?
So the greatest challenges are, let's say, the times when nothing works, when you're working on a research topic and you're really putting effort into it, and things don't really go your way. But if you work hard enough on it, eventually you'll find something that works.
That's the definition of research. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, great. What do you enjoy the most?
Well, more or less the same thing, doing research, even though sometimes it's like sometimes things doesn't work, some things don't work, but other times they work great, and that feeling's like really good. So that's why I enjoy the most.
To discover something new that works.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. Perhaps can you tell us something about your research? So what is the actual topic?
My main topic is unsupervised anomaly detection. So these are basically methods that find inconsistencies in images. A pretty important application of this is discovering defects on objects in some manufacturing processes. My main topic is discriminative methods, where the goal is to kind of have only normal examples of objects, and then to synthesize some synthetic anomalies that can then be used to train methods that detect any sort of defects that happen during the production process. So I also do. Can just next slide? Thank you. I also recently I've been working on image generation with diffusion models, but specifically for the use in training other networks. So basically to generate synthetic data and to augment existing data sets so that you can train more robust models.
Okay, great. Yeah. So deep learning, right? This is the field that you're active on. It's quite competitive. I mean, it's like the most competitive probably field
it's
nowadays,
pretty competitive.
Right? So how are you able to compete in this field here at our faculty?
Well, it's not. I mean, sure, it's very competitive, but if you pick a topic where you can compete, you pick a topic that's interesting to you, and you put a lot of effort in it, and you read a lot of papers and you see where the things can be improved, then you don't really have a problem competing, because you can still do a lot of stuff that's interesting. You just have to find, let's say, a niche where you can do some important work.
But in this area, many people are taking
sure,
the same niches, right? So it's still quite tough competition.
Yeah, it's competitive, but even though a lot of people are working on the same problems, everyone is using some different approaches for solving these problems. So even though you work on the same thing as some other guy across the world, you still get some unique insights, even though you kind of arrived at the same conclusion, but you both did it differently. So it is a competition, but you learn from both of these works, even though they work on more or less the same thing, right?
Okay, great. Thank you, Vityan.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I'll ask Ida to join. So I'll ask you the same questions, right? So what is your definition of a doctoral student?
So I would say that as a doctoral student, your main task or your main job is to learn how to do research, how to do it well, how to compete with other people doing research, how to publish the work or how to present the work that you do. And also basically that.
Okay. Why did you choose to enroll in the doctoral studies? Why not to go to some company? Because I think you worked in a company before joining the doctoral studies.
Yeah, I did work in a company for 2 years before finishing my master thesis. And it was interesting, but I was just missing a little bit of this time to follow what's happening in the field that's interesting to me, which is computer vision, and to really try to apply those methods and try to advance the field to an even higher level. And also because I kind of like teaching, so I would also consider staying at the faculty, doing some pedagogical stuff.
So you already answered the why question. And now what are the biggest challenges that you're facing?
For me personally, the biggest challenge is time management, because I'm not that great at it. I like to do a lot of things and I want to do all of them 100%. But yeah, also as Vityan mentioned, it's really difficult to, you really have to be very motivated to be able to persevere when you're not getting the results that you want to get.
Okay. What do you enjoy the most?
I enjoy research. I enjoy talking to people who do the same
research? Because research, you can do experiments, you can write papers, you can go to conferences. Which part do you enjoy the most?
All of it.
Oh, okay, great.
I didn't go to that many conferences, but yeah.
Okay.
I think just the whole package is what's really interesting to me.
Okay, great, thanks. What about your research? So what is your topic?
Okay, so my topic in computer vision is quite an applicative one. I'm working on virtual garment try-on, which basically means that if we have a picture of some person who wants to try on some t-shirt or some piece of clothing from an online store, we want to generate a preview of how that person would look with this clothing so that they can decide if they want to buy it or not. And this problem is based on generative, deep generative models which have to generate this preview. And the biggest problems that we need to solve is that we don't always know exactly what the result has to look like. Like for example, in some other task, you know exactly what the output should be, so you can just compare what you got and what you should have gotten and train the model based on that. But on the other hand, our problem is quite constrained. So we know that this exact person has to wear this exact garment, right? We can't just hallucinate some random person like some popular generative models that you see online will do. So the most popular approach is to have a two-stage pipeline, which first will learn how to transform this t-shirt to match the pose of the person, and then try to combine this warped clothing with the person in the image to make it look as realistic as possible. So if we just go to the next slide, here are some of the results from the method that we published last year. And yeah, if you are interested, you can check out the paper.
So how well does this system actually work? Right? Because, for example, I know that Gap, the store, right, the clothing store in the United States, they have these mirrors in the store where you could walk in front of the mirror and you could see your garment, right? But it looks like it's kind of working, but still it's not natural, right? It's not like perfect, right? So how well does this kind of system work currently? How much more room for improvement there is?
There's a lot, I would say, because if you look at these pictures, you can see that all of them have white background and people standing in mostly like front-facing poses. And yes, and still there are a lot of problems with generating realistic images of people. For example, even if you look at, I don't know, Midjourney or some other popular model, you will see that they don't generate realistic hands. They will sometimes have 6 fingers or like arm loops when they cross arms and there's just 1 arm actually. And problems like this. So there's still quite a lot of things that we need to work on.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Aida.
Thank you.
And now I'll give the floor to Professor Daniel Skocaj, who is in charge of the doctoral studies here at our faculty, to describe the actual study program.
Okay, thank you, Tomasz. So I'm afraid that the most interesting part of today's event is over. Maybe not, we'll see. I'll try to be interesting as well. But yeah, now I need to present, I would like to present the doctoral study as such. So if you're thinking about enrolling to our study, you need to know why, right? I'll start with a slide titled Research. I mean, because research is really the most important thing for doctoral study. Although doctoral study is a kind of study, right? It's really basically, as Vitian already said, it's focused on research and not on study. You study how to do research. We are faculty of computer information science. So yeah, that's the now we didn't say why to enroll the doctoral study, right? So in these interviews with the students, somehow we could hear some of the reasons. And I would like to emphasize that really that finishing the doctoral study brings you a lot of benefits. I would say you learn a lot of things. You know how to do. You learn how to do research. You do research. You gain practice in doing research, and this you get a lot of experience that is pretty much very helpful, not only academic environment, but also outside in business environment, in companies and so on. So that's something that we would like to emphasize here, that research is just a path to the final goal, to acquire all these skills and knowledge. And as we are faculty of computer information science, we cover like different areas of computer science. Some of them are listed here. We have 19 laboratories that really deal with very different aspects of computer and information science, and many researchers working on those topics. And for every doctoral student, one of the most crucial steps is to select a mentor, like a researcher that will work with him or her on the doctoral dissertation, advise him or how to do, guide him. Of course, it is expected that the doctoral student at the end will be on that particular topic not only better than the supervisor, than the mentor. It's supposed to be better than any other researcher in the world on that really particular topic, right? But mentor is supposed to be really somehow help when driving on this road of doctoral thesis. So at this link here, you can see the list of mentors that are available at our faculty, also the topics, research topics they are working on, and so try to find a match with your interests, what you would like to work on, and what the mentors are working on, where they are experts in, and this will be then the winning combination if you can do that. About the study program, I won't spend a lot of time here. It is described in detail in this brochure and also on our webpage. But as you can see, it also from like this very high-level sketch is that most of the time is devoted to research. So like all these dark blue areas are research, not classical courses, although it's study, it's still really, most is about research. Also, these seminars, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are highly related to research. At these seminars, basically, you need to write, to read and write something about related work. You need to write the papers, defend the papers, and so on. Seminar 5 is the final presentation of your research results, right? So all of them are basically something that you need to do in your research anyway. So they are courses, but very related to research itself. Then we have like scientific skills 1 and 2 that you'll learn some soft skills about I don't know, how to write a paper, review the paper, write the project proposal, something about ethics and so on, right? Some general knowledge you need to, and skills you need to have if you are supposed to be called a doctor, right? And only those 4 courses, elective courses, are a kind of more similar to courses that are used to have until now, right? So it's basically, this study, it's very, very different than the study on the first and the second level. With respect to this, I would just have to mention that at the end of, somewhere in the middle of the second year, you need to apply for, as you call it, doctoral dissertation topic, or you need to submit the draft of your dissertation, what your idea is, what you will be working on. And the final dissertation, which will be submitted at the end of the final year, is supposed to be on that particular topic that you choose. And the other requirement that I need to mention is that in order to get your degree, a doctoral degree, is you have to publish your research in one of the SCI journals, right? So it's a kind of that you also get the external evaluation from some research community next to the committee for doctoral student committee that you will also have assigned in the course of this program. So this is really in a nutshell. If you have any question, just raise a hand, ask, or we can do it after all the presentations to maybe have a question and answer questions session. So about the elective courses, they are listed here. You select 4 of them. 2 of them you can also select not at our faculty, at any other faculty. They cover a broad range of topics. Most most of the courses are from the field of machine learning and related topics, but also some other topics are covered. And the idea of these courses is, although they are a little bit more similar to the standard courses, still that you work on this within these courses on your dissertation topic as well, if possible, right? So that you do some, I don't know, project work that help you with your dissertation, or maybe to get some other view from some other perspective on your dissertation, something like that. Sometimes this is possible, sometimes maybe your topic is too distant from that, but the main idea is to help you basically. All the courses are meant to help you on your way to dissertation, not to block you basically, right? So that's something that you have keep in mind. Research is the main thing here. Here we listed recent, I don't know, 10 or something like that, dissertations that were defended last year and year before. So you can see from the titles, you can see that they really range quite different across different fields in computer science. Of course, all dissertations are available on repository. I would suggest you to advise you to look at them, to see what is the, what is the extent of these dissertations, what is the structure, what kind of contributions are there in. We have very nice format of this dissertation. You will get nice booklet at the end I hope you'll be proud on that book that will be on display in your office or wherever you will be. You can check them to get a feeling what actually doctoral dissertation at our faculty is about. Okay, so is there any question about that maybe already now? No. Okay, then one thing that I would like to emphasize is for everybody that is already studying here or working at our faculty, you mostly know about our facilities and so on. But for all of you that are following us over the internet or looking at this after that in this recordings of this session, I would say that we have very nice facilities here. We have also we are quite well equipped. Most of the labs, we have access to HPC River, like supercomputer with 10 petaflops and so on. Quite high, quite strong computational power, and we know that we need resources, right? In our field, if you don't have good computational resources, you can't really do serious research. But I would say that we are quite well equipped, not also international wide, right? So it's not to mention that we have a new building here, right? So I always say, okay, maybe we are not the best in the world, but I think we are, if not the most beautiful, but almost the most beautiful faculty in the world, right? So the working conditions are very nice. We have enough space. So these are, when you consider where to continue with doctoral study, these are also some factors to be considered, right? And I'm pretty sure that we can offer a lot of good working environment from, let's say, facilities point of view, but also from human point of view, right? We have 19 laboratories with a lot of researchers working on this topic, so we can discuss with them. We like to have doctoral students, so we are open to them. So when choosing so one thing is to select whether to go for doctoral study or not. Then which topic to select, right? And then when you select, yes, I will go to doctoral study, yes, I'll go to the computer information science, then you need to decide where to go. And what I like to convince you now that our faculty is a very good choice for all the reasons that I mentioned in last couple of minutes. So we're very open to foreign students. Of course, I can say that we are the largest, the best, let's say, doctoral school in computer science in Slovenia, right? But this is not enough, right? So I would like to say that we are better even in a larger space, if not the best. And we would like to attract the students also, not only from Slovenia, but also from abroad. We have a number of students every year enrolled from abroad, and again, not speaking to all of you that are from Slovenia, I'm pretty sure that you know where Slovenia is and how nice it is here. But to all the participants from abroad, maybe just a couple of words about Ljubljana, our university and country as such. Slovenia is quite a small country, right? But this is also beneficial, right? So here, Ljubljana is the capital in the center of Slovenia. In 1 hour, you are at the Adriatic coast. Now, 1 hour, you are in the Alps. In 1 hour, you are in Croatia. 1 hour in Austria. 1 hour in Italy. So it's really everything. It's quite close. So from let's say this, we are part of the Western world, right? So we are a part of EU, but still close to East and South. So I would say we are quite on a perfect spot to foster this collaboration all around, right? Even Ljubljana is a city with something less than 300,000 inhabitants. It's very peaceful and safe city, green city, nice city, the most beautiful city in the world, right? But it's true also the living costs are quite low. So for all of you that are, looking at this from abroad, these are a couple of additional candies that should be considered why to select us. Also, you have subsidized lunch, transportation, dorms, and so on. So the students have quite good conditions here, I would say, right? So maybe I would invite one of foreign students to say whether I was exaggerating, right? Or just come here. Andrea, you're welcome. So was I right when I was describing Slovenia and Ljubljana in this quite maybe a little bit too optimistic terms?
Yeah, no, definitely a bit optimistic, but I agree with a lot of the things you said. And it's definitely a very peaceful, quiet, the city of Ljubljana, and it's close to everything, as you said. I definitely suggest if you come here as a student to bring, if you have your car, your transportation, because then you're really free to roam around and see the Alps, the seaside, and everything around the city. For living, I would say it's a really student-friendly city, and especially there are many faculties around the city, so there are many places you can live depending on where you study. So for example, here at Free is a bit outside of the city center, but so maybe you can find an apartment around the faculty. And I would say, apart from that, I really like Ljubljana.
Okay. So what brought you here?
So I'm part of Marie Curie action project called Parent. So it's a European project, and I am part of 15 PhD students that are working inside the project. And so mainly I was interested in collaborating with a lot of people from around Europe. And the University of Ljubljana was the university for the machine learning part in this project, because it's a very interdisciplinary project. So there are many hospitals, as you will see later. There are many hospitals, and there is the University of Ljubljana is doing the machine learning part, which is my interest.
So can you explain what?
This is our research at the moment. We're doing eye tracking tests with preterm children. Okay, the focus of Project Parent are preterm children, and particularly the early diagnosis of impairments, cognitive motor impairments in the children. And our main contribution will be to create these, try to understand if it's possible to diagnose with eye tracking, because it's a new technology and it's very non-invasive for children. So we traveled to a hospital in Spain to run some tests for the pilot of this test, and this is a video of it, and this is the setup that we created, because it's still in the early stage of testing. And so another possibility that the PhD offers is to travel around Europe, and I really enjoyed it. So I came here from Italy, in Ljubljana, and also I'm traveling in Spain and in Belgium, maybe. So that's definitely a plus.
Okay. So would you do it again? Would you come again? If you would have to decide it.
To decide again, I would say yes, but maybe I would look more into what's actually being, like, for example, all the stuff, looking at the thesis of other people, what is being working, what people are working on here. I didn't do any of that. And if I went back, I would definitely do it. So check maybe what's the actual work that is being done, that is being doing here.
Okay, so what are your plans for the future, for the following years?
Oh, for the following year, I would say finish the PhD first. That's the main objective. And after that, I'm keeping open different options. So I would say my main focus is industry, so working in a company, but I'm not completely against teaching. So postdoc in computer science.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I really like the way you said that Ljubljana is a student-friendly city, right? What I wanted to emphasize now that it's also open to foreign students, not only to the domestic students, right? So am I right? Can I say that? That it's friendly not only to the students but also to foreign students?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah, with us is also Vesna Gračner, who is administrative contact for this exchange, all the student exchanges, but also she may help all the foreign students with this formalities when you are arriving here. Everything is settled down, so it shouldn't be any big problems, but when applying from abroad, there is a certain procedure that has to be fulfilled, and Vesna might be on help, on advising on about documentation for recognition of education. If you come from abroad, your educational documents have to be recognized. Finding an apartment in Ljubljana and all the relation stuff. And if you need any help, she will be willing to help with those questions. Okay, now just one slide, I guess, on this administrative stuff, how to apply for doctoral study. So the deadline for enrollment, for application is on 1st of June. So this is the first deadline. Usually we have the second deadline in later on in August, but we want to have it early enough, mostly because of the foreign students, so then they have entire summer time to work out with all the papers, all the paperwork that needs to be done in order to get all the permits and so on to come to Ljubljana. So I would suggest to everyone to really apply by the June 1st. Of course, you don't have to have all the conditions met in June. Typically, you'll defend, not typically, but many of you will defend the master thesis only in August or in September. So you need to fulfill all the requirements before the enrollment, which will happen in mid-September, some second half of September, something like that. So what are the conditions? You need to have like master or some pre-Bologna equivalent study program, which is something which is very common for all the doctoral studies. The procedure is not very difficult, right? You need to write a well-structured CV. Why? Because we'd like to know something about you, so put all your achievements in education and so on, so that we see that you are a kind of capable or motivated to do CV. You also include a motivation letter so that we see why would you like to study, what are your goals, what would you like to do in this couple of years. I always say, we saw before that doctoral study is 4 years long, right? So you'll devote 4 years of your life to this doctoral degree. And you really need to be motivated to do that. And this also is somehow reflected in this motivation letter and CV. And speaking about these formalities, you need to attach also certificate of exams, copy of your bachelor or master degree, two recommendation letters. So ask your, I don't know, current supervisors, bosses, or whoever to write the motivation, the recommendation letter to somehow enforce your application. And you also need to enclose the mentor's acceptance statement so that he or she will supervise you, and a short conceptual design of the research work, right? So this is not really a research proposal. It's just a sketch, like an idea, what will you be working on? So that you start thinking already before enrolling what your topic will be. According to that topic, you will select a mentor, so that somehow you have to do this thinking before and not later on somehow find out that you don't have idea, that you're not interested in, and so on. So that's why you should do this homework already before you apply to the doctoral study, but this is not carved in stone, right? If you change your mind, if you find some more suitable topic, you will do some dissertation on some other topic. So this is just some kind of broad idea what you would like to work on. About tuition fees, it's 4,200 euros for the first 2 years and 3,000 euros for the second 2 years. But I have to mention that most of it is subsidized by the Slovenian government, right? So we get, I don't know, 80% back, and the rest 20% is to be paid by the student. But if the student is employed at our faculty, for instance, on a project or as a teaching assistant, something like that, 1/2 of that, the rest basically is also paid by the faculty, and usually the another half is paid by the lab you're working on. So usually not a lot of tuition fees to be paid, or maybe even nothing. So, and I think something similar will be in the next year as well. Administrative contact is Ms. Denka Velikonja, who is also here. So if you have any question regarding this administrative process, she will be willing to answer later on. Okay, quick question now. No, then I will hand over Tomasz again.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, so now you're at the stage, at the age where you're expected to be independent, right? Probably your parents are fed up with you and you're expected to get some real job, or it's at least some income. And of course, we are aware of that. And of course, also if you want to do top tier research, you have to basically be employed as a researcher, right? It's very difficult to have 2 jobs or multiple jobs at the same time because you ran out of time, right? The day has a limited number of hours. So for that reason, at our faculty, we have many opportunities, right? So you could either decide to be a teaching assistant, employed as a teaching assistant. This means that you devote quite a lot of your time for teaching activities. So if this is something that works for you, I think that's a good option. Of course, there will also be some time set aside for the research. Then we have this option of the junior researcher positions. This in Slovenia is called Mladi raziskovalec. This year we have 5 such slots at our faculty open. The deadline for application was today, but there will be a second and a third call. So those positions that were not filled so far, they are still potentially open. So you should check that. And then, of course, there is the pure researcher position, which I think is the best choice, right? So you are completely devoted to research. You're basically paid to do research for your doctorate, right? So on this web page here, that is given here, you can see all the opportunities that are currently open. There are 15 such opportunities open currently. But to convince you about the different possibilities, we prepared a few examples, right? So now I would ask Daniel to come back to the stage and present the employment opportunities in your lab.
Yeah, I'll do the first one. Yeah, so basically we have an open position, maybe even more open positions. So of course we applied for a couple of projects. So if we get all of them, we will probably need all of you sitting right here right now. But yeah, in our lab we do a lot of research on computer vision in different areas. Right? What Vityan mentioned before was about defect detection, right? This is one strong topic we have in the lab. So we have one open position, particularly in that particular topic, basically about data-driven learning-based approaches in machine vision. So how to improve industrial processes in Industry 4.0 paradigm with how to enrich those processes, how to change the paradigm of designing specific solutions for specific problems to more general solutions, data-driven solutions for defect detection, for robot localization, for object localization, and so on, right? But also other topics are very well supported in our lab, like I don't know, visual tracking. We do a lot of that. About autonomous boats, right? Obstacle detection for autonomous boats. So all of those are topics that we have open positions for, also for teaching courses on computer vision that we have. So there is a lot of opportunities, and I will be very happy to if you're interested in that direction, just contact me and then we'll discuss the open options.
So what kind of previous knowledge do you expect from applicants?
Of course, the previous knowledge, if you pass deep learning course at the second level, then that's quite a good, I would say, step forward. No, yeah, of course, the previous knowledge in computer vision and in deep learning is a kind of very, like almost a prerequisite, I would say, because for doing the doctoral dissertation, it's much better not only talking about this project, but in general, right? If you continue working on something that you worked before, that's quite an advantageous feature, right? Because you not start from the scratch. Also, in this case, previous knowledge in deep learning is, of course, very, very, very beneficial.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Yeah. So next up is Professor Stankowski from the Data Technology Lab. So, Vlado.
Should I come there?
Yes, please.
So hello, everybody. The topics,
can you use this mic?
The subject area that we are mainly engaged with are general advancements in software engineering from different viewpoints, like from the viewpoint of how we build new ways of building applications, and then also building applications that run from the edge of the computing network to data centers. So we are concerned with orchestration of applications across several clouds, then deployment of artificial intelligence methods in any environments, and also with the assurance of trust in the orchestration and deployment and development processes through the use of blockchain technologies. So generally speaking, these topics are in software engineering.
So what would be your ideal candidate for a doctoral student?
Somebody who really likes like full stack development, or that like to really experiment with technologies like IoT and cloud computing, all together containerized and run across many clouds. So
what are the greatest scientific challenges that a doctoral student would face in this area?
Actually, there are plenty, because every new smart application has to be developed in a completely new environment on the basis of completely different kind of data. So there are questions of how we deal with the data, how we achieve quality of service of applications, how we achieve trust, cross-border data management, also tokenomics principles of how we run economic ecosystems through the use of blockchains. So all this, there are plenty of research topics in these domains.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Vlado.
Thank you very much.
And now I would ask Professor Marko Robnik-Šikonja from the Laboratory for Cognitive Modeling. Perhaps you should use that mic.
Okay, so hello. So the Lab for the Cognitive Modeling does lots of research in machine learning and natural language processing. So this is both general machine learning as well as some specific machine learning, let's say for the medical domain, but also for other domains. So the three research positions which we have here, this is just, let's say, a sample of what we really need. So one is focused on explainable AI. So you know that these large language models and large machine learning models in general are really not transparent. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to develop new methodology, how to explain these models, how to make them more transparent. So that's one of the topics we are doing. So the second one is about natural language processing. So we have built several of these really large language models, and we are also, let's say, doing research on other larger models. Our particular topic is to inject knowledge into these models because they are, in a way, unreliable. So that's another position. And the third one is with the Professor Zoran Bosnic, who is not now present, but we have a very interesting project, basically machine learning in the medicine, where we are working on a particular problem of detecting heart failures. So this is also basically machine learning, but specifically for the medical domain.
Okay, great. So perhaps just to comment, so these large language models, right? ChatGPT being the most famous one, right?
Right.
So how can a student, a doctoral student here at FREE, compete with OpenAI's ChatGPT, right?
I mean,
so how do you see this?
I mean,
how
definitely
can be this battle won?
Yeah, definitely nobody can build a ChatGPT, at least not now. But there's a lot of research going into, let's say, improving these large language models. So as was mentioned previously, in Slovenia we have these large supercomputers, and there are also, these models can be also rented, and there are different ways how to train them and how to improve them, and we are working on problems like that as well. And also the EU actually is building these new language models. There will soon be, let's say, a flood of these models, and so it will be really interesting to see what the scientific community will be able to do with them.
Especially the explainability part, right? Probably is
that's
the most
very special technique.
The alignment part also, right?
Which is not solved really because, what is explanation for the generated text? That's something which we still have to figure out in a way.
Okay, great. Thank you, Marko. Okay, to conclude, as I said, there are currently 15 open positions, similar to what you just heard, right? So here are listed. So cloud computing, edge computing, artificial intelligence in general, machine learning methods for audio processing, artificial methods in medicine for screening and detection of diseases, computer vision for biometrics or also interpretability, and again, artificial intelligence in general. Then modeling of biological systems, right? For this topic, they are actually want to get an assistant, a researcher, and also some part-time researcher, right? So very a lot of need for that topic. And of course, to go into more like hardware field, right? How to compute a function or do some processing, but using less energy, right? So usually, if you want high precision, you need a lot of energy. If you don't have that so much energy, then you have to be still work well with approximate results, and right. So this is a really relevant topic for also for the green transition. Okay. As I said, please visit this webpage and see as it will be updated for potential positions and options for you. Okay, so now we'll ask Daniel again to finish today's presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, before we conclude, something about international collaboration. So, it was already mentioned now before, right, that like research can be viewed also as competition, and we compete. Yeah, maybe we can't compete with OpenAI in general, but in some, as Vityan really stressed before, in some niche topics you can be the best, right? And as my friend, one of my friends said, that when you finish your PhD, you must be, there shouldn't be any person in the world that knows more about that particular specific topic than you, okay? And this is something that is valuable, and you should disseminate that, right? So it's very important that we collaborate with the others. So probably you are the most, on that particular topic, you know more than all your members of family, right? But this probably is not such a big deal, right? But if you know more than everyone at this faculty, this is something. If you're the best in Slovenia, it's even a little bit better, but your goal is to be the best in the world. And to achieve that, you have to collaborate with other faculties, other institutions, and we really foster this collaboration. On the doctoral study, we allow the students to participate in all, I don't know, seminars, exams, and so on. When they're not really exams, but I don't know, the defenses of their project and so on. When they are abroad, to take part at these courses via teleconference. We also pay, if you publish a paper on some very good conference, you can ask the faculty to pay for your trip there. So, and we offer this money. So we really very highly encourage this collaboration with other institutions. So here is a list of countries that we have established collaboration with. There are some institutions mentioned, but there are many more of them. So it's really, we would like that you as a student go abroad, attend a conference, enlarge your circle of researchers, and also we invite the other researchers to come here and to visit us and work with us. So this is really something that I would like to emphasize. So maybe I would just make one example even clearer of this collaboration, which is KAUST from Saudi Arabia. We have Assistant Professor Cyril Bouhaki is there on a quite long research visit, and he established quite a nice bridge between them and us. So you're able to do like research here and collaborate with them. We also have double degree on doctoral level with them, so you might have get at the end of your doctoral study a double doctorate from us, and double degree doctorate from our University of Ljubljana and KAUST. Here are listed topics that are the most interested in the framework of this collaboration, from reconstruction of microscopic data to deep learning methods in computer graphics, right? So if you're interested in collaboration with them, this is again one very nice option to be involved very deeply in this collaboration. But we have similar collaborations also with other faculties and similar programs also with some other institutions, not only KAUST. But it's really something that we would like to bring our researchers, to send our researchers worldwide to disseminate their knowledge. And at the end of the day, also when you will finish your study, you'll become doctors, you will have to go somewhere to of course, it won't be any problem to find a job. We all know that, right? But I think that having the doctorate from University of Ljubljana will give you even more opportunities in more, I'm pretty sure that either some small non-ambition, some companies without ambitions, they probably won't appreciate you having the doctorate, but on the other hand, probably even you won't be very interested to such kind of companies, right? Some top companies, ambitious companies that know to appreciate like at least the effort that you have to invest to arrive at doctorate. This doctorate will mean something, right? And we have a number of, these are a couple of foreign doctoral students of our faculty that are now, I don't know, professor at Harvard, right? Or at some other worldly known companies, or Slovenian companies, or in startups, or helping establishing startups, and so on. So it's a kind of, I would say that the doctorate opens the doors that maybe in some cases would be closed without it. So I think that's all we wanted to say, right? We presented our program briefly. We heard a couple of testimonials about what does it mean to be a doctoral student here. Did I forget something, Tomasz? Shall we add? Otherwise, it's time for questions. We'll be very glad to answer questions. Yeah?
What's the difference between a researcher and a young researcher?
Okay, so young researcher is a special, there is a call, every year we have a call from our funding agency, RRS, for young researchers, and it's quite an open, so basically if there is a number of young researcher positions that we get at the faculty, a number of mentors that actually can hire a young researcher on this call, and typically this is the most wanted position, I would say, because you're very open you can choose the topic in accordance with the supervisor quite freely, right? And then you can basically work on that research for the project. However, of course, this is a part of your research for your doctoral dissertation, right? Well, the researchers are usually, there are some predefined topics. So basically, usually you apply, not you, but we apply for projects. We get a project, and then we need researchers that work on that project, right? So, and of course, we need to produce results in accordance with what we promised in the project proposal, right? And if your research is aligned to that request, that promises that we did, then that's even better, right? It's perfect. You work on that project and for doctorate as well, right? But in that case, you are somehow limited to those topics that are. So for these research positions, usually the topics are more defined than for young researcher positions. That's the difference. But otherwise, it's really paid research position, and usually all the researchers basically work on their dissertation alongside fulfilling all the requirements from the project. So this is something, and we have quite a number of them this year. We have 5 young researchers, which is much more than we usually get, and there is also quite a high number of research positions, right? So this year will be quite there will be quite good opportunities to join us. Other questions? Is there any question remote, I mean from participants? No? Even if you're not here, you can ask a question. No. Okay, if there are no other questions, I will close this session, like at least official part of it. There is supposed to be some pizza outside, is it? Yep. Micha? So we have pizza time now. You have students here, so all prospective students can talk directly to students without us, old guys that are kind of. You can ask them directly whether all the questions about the doctoral study, and I really like to encourage you to join us, to enroll. If you have any question, any doubts, just please contact me or Tomasz or whoever to resolve all ambiguities, and I really looking forward to meet you in October at the first course about introduction to the new year of doctoral study. Okay, thank you.